Welcome to Kick It Up a Notch, hosted by Megan and Jenny. We're here to bring you lively conversations, inspiring stories, and a little bit of everything in between. Whether it's life, business, or just a good laugh, we're turning up the energy and diving into what makes life extraordinary. Let's kick it up a notch. Welcome to another episode of Kick It Up a Notch. I'm Megan Thomas, and I am not here with my lovely co-host, Jenny McBride. This is my first solo episode. Buckle up. I don't know why it's so nerve-wracking, why it's so different, but it is, because it's just me. It could be a doozy, but hopefully not, so stay tuned. We are realtors and entrepreneurs and investors. We're so glad to have you back for another episode. Make sure to go check out all of our previous episodes and follow, like, and subscribe. Today, I'm kicking it up a notch with myself. I'm going to kind of stay on this surface in regards to details and not get too lost in the weeds on things. It's very much kind of just the progression of our journey and how I experienced it kind of from the outside, fighting against it, and then becoming a full participant in our investing journey. My goal is for someone who's on the fence about taking the risk to make that decision and investing and building passive income. And passive is a very funny word. I think people hear that and it thinks it means you don't have to work for the money and you do a little bit up front and then that money just shows up in your bank account. And that's very, very wrong. We still very much are actively working for that money and to build that passive income, but we're spending that money on assets and not liabilities. So that money is that purchase, an expense on the asset is going to make us money in the future. And that's the beauty of real estate. It's very much delayed gratification, but you do it right, that value of the investments are going to be there. We've invested in other things, not just real estate related, that I'm going to kind of mention along the way. Also, nothing said today should be taken as financial advice, investing advice. I'm just retelling of our experiences and what our personal experiences was. So you do you. This is again just to share a story and not to take any kind of advice per se. So let's get started. I do dive backwards, probably a little too far, but I promise it kind of all ties together. So January 2025, we celebrated, Cody and I, 13 years together. 13 years together. So it was fun going through this kind of journey and timeline of our investing journey, because a lot of time and a lot of things have been accomplished in that time. I mean, it's very hard to believe what's been accomplished. So it's kind of nice to go down and look at those results. So when we first met, when we first started dating, Cody was flipping cars. Our driveway looked like a car dealership most of the time. It sounds exactly like what it was. He would find cars that maybe needed a big part or a little part, or was just good bones but ugly, so maybe needed like a kit added to it, and then he would work on them, fix on them, and resell them. He would make deals late at night, on weekends, people coming to our house, us meeting them somewhere, us going there. Many nights I spent out in the garage just watching him work on cars. That was many of our date nights and experiences together. So we were living in our first house together, and he had bought a house and he had bought a car. And some people came up to our house, 2 individuals, and they were like, "We're here to repossess this car." It's this little silver car he had just bought. And he was like, "No, you're not. Here's the situation, blah, blah, blah." And that was like 10 minutes before he had to leave to take one of his CPA tests. So he is currently a CPA, and you have to take 4 sets of tests. So he was on his way to take one of his tests. And yeah, these men came up to the house and were like, "We're going to repossess this car." And that was a fun little stressor right before he went to take that test. And I'm just like, what's happening? Oh my goodness. So that luckily only happened once. I was keeping a list. I'm going to work on not saying as much. I was keeping a list at one point of how many vehicles he had gone through, and I lost track at over 80. Some he would drive for a little bit. Some I would drive for a little bit. Some were just there for a few minutes, a few days, and then gone. But yeah, it was over 80 cars. So that was crazy. So that is kind of the start of my relationship with Cody Grable and his drive to make money and his drive to think outside of the box. It was very interesting for sure. So he graduated in 2015 with an accounting and a financing degree, and started focusing full-time on accounting and slowed down with the cars a little bit. He'd been working at his grandpa's accounting business since he was 14. So he's graduated now and was working on planning on taking over that business. I graduated in May of 2016 with my master's. I'd been in school roughly 19 years, if you want to go from kindergarten to master's degree. And I was so ready to relax and be done with school, maybe get to see friends and family again, because it had just been a lot with both of us going to school. And we are currently living in a 700 square foot house on the west side, very, very close to USI and all the people we know, all the food, so all the things, with our three Huskies. 700 square foot house with our three Huskies. So we were done with school and considering making a move. We thought it was definitely making sense, made time. And again, 700 square foot house, two adults, for that house, large Huskies. I wanted to stay on the west side. Cody found a property he really, really liked in New Harmony. So we compromised and we moved to New Harmony. It was a beautiful property. It was 10 acres, 4 garages, a pole barn, half an acre fenced in yard for the dogs, 4,700 square foot house. That can be a podcast for another day. We bought that house in October of 2016, 5 months after I graduated and Cody completed his 4 exams to become a CPA. And life has not slowed down since, I think. And that's where I said going through this timeline was very, very interesting, of things I had forgotten and everything that had taken place. So our investment journey kind of really starts there. So he bought his first rental, the summer of 2016 when we're out in New Harmony. It was a gutted house for $8,000. Not in the worst area, not in the best area. We still see it every day when we pass the Lloyd. We can see it over there off of John Street. Again, it was gutted. It was studs pretty much. Very small house, I think like 700 square feet, if that. It was renovated and able to be rented the following summer of 2017. I never saw him. We're out in New Harmony. He is full-time CPA, and now he has this property that he is working on 24. Any free time went to work on that house. I was mad we were out in New Harmony. Honestly, I was mad that he took on another thing to do. I'm thinking very small at this point, but I'm thinking we're done with school. We just bought this beautiful home, beautiful property, again, out in New Harmony. And I thought we were gonna have more time together, kind of start that after school life of not having school, not being crazy. So I was not a fan of this investing dream. When I say I never saw him, I mean, I never saw him. I was so just honestly upset. I was alone a lot. I was not happy. And knowing me, I probably made it pretty clear that I was unhappy with it, if I had to guess. But me and the 3 doggos, we hung out at New Harmony. It was fine. He did go into that property with a partner. Partner thing did not last long. I don't even think that partner lasted till it was able to be rented. And if he did, it did not last long into the rentals. So it's been a solo thing since. October 2017, he utilized a cash out refinance on that first rental property. So again, bought it for $8,000 down to the studs, got it fixed up, livable, updated, and had rental income history. So he was able to refinance and get the money out of that property, and he was able to use that money as a down payment for his second rental. It was a single family home in Mount Vernon, Indiana. So I was like, okay, well, at least he's closer to home. Still never saw him, but I could like run down and see him, take him dinner, stuff like that. Trying not to be a total jerk on this property like I was on the last one. In 2017, Cody also made his first commercial property. He bought the building on Franklin Street that his grandpa's accounting business was currently in. And then he went to buy the whole business in January of 2018. So that building on Franklin Street was his first commercial purchase. It did have a rental unit upstairs. So that kind of became an apartment rental he had. And at this point, myself, I've been doing hospice social work for about a year and a half. And I was pretty done with that. It was really upsetting to think about going to school and then not using my degree. But it's also not worth being in something that you're not happy with. So I was pretty done. So we made a decision. Cody's taken over this business and his grandpa's going part-time. So I go to work at Cody's office with him. I'm not great at taxes and money, not what I want to do. And we learn, me more than him, not a big fan of working together in that sense. So I was there for about a tax season, a full year. So one tax season, I think I was there about a full year. He was really into the investing thing. So he said it would make a lot of sense if one of us was a realtor. I volunteered to distribute because I was like, I'm not going to stay in this office because either I'll stay here and work and we are no longer together, or I don't stay here and work and we're not together and it's not great. So I said, I will go do the real estate thing. Cody had a lot on his plate. It just made sense for me to do it. Best decision I was ever talked into doing. So I got licensed in December of 2018. So up to this point, he has 3 single family homes and a commercial building that his office is in and the rental unit upstairs. So 2019, he might be one of the main reasons I was in business my first year, because he buys 2 more single family home properties, 2 more commercial buildings, and he becomes 50% owner of a denture making company. Yeah, people, they make teeth. So he's doing taxes and a dental company. Very interesting. Every time he would come to me with something, he's like, this client's going to sell their business, and I think I'm going to invest in it, 50% owner. I'm like, what do they do? Oh, it's a dental place. I'm like, you know nothing about making teeth. Why do you want to do this? He's like, I'll be the accounting, the business, the backside of it. And the other partner, he's going to do all the teeth stuff. And I'm not good with change. I'm not good with risk, but the numbers made sense. He saw the potential and went for it. So he became 50% owner of a dental company. So if you remember what happened in 2020, say it with me, global pandemic. Yeah. So the world got reclusive and interest rates inevitably were going to drop, and everyone was just real scared, hesitant. A very weird time. We all remember that. The trauma of being a real estate agent during that time is also a podcast for another day. Very, very hectic time. Lots of good from it, but very, very interesting time. A lot of investing books and podcasts and people who do this all the time say, if you're studying the market, always, no matter the market, the numbers have to make sense for investing. You make the money when you buy the investment, not when you go to sell it. And everyone says when you see the world retreating, that's when you need to charge and go forward. So we were seeing a lot of economic and market things change in that time period, knew the lower interest rates were coming, and kind of wanted to take advantage of that. And so in 2020, we buy and sell our first flip house. It was right down the street from us in New Harmony. So travel-wise wasn't too bad. Got to check on the doggos. Saw a lot more of each other doing this. I was pretty in on it at this point. I spent so much time painting these properties. I will not say I'm an expert painter, but of all the things I can do, painting is one of them. So we bought that in January of 2020 and sold it in June of 2020. And in 2020, we also sold that first rental property that we had used to refinance and get our second one. So we sold that one. Cody also at this time bought his first multi-unit. It was a triplex, so that means 3 units in one. So you can get one property, but it could be 3 doors, meaning it's 3 separate incomes coming out of there because 3 separate individuals can rent a unit in that property. And his dad is now a full-time employee working on the properties. Almost all of the properties we purchase need work. They need fixed up. That helps value when you go again to do that cash out refinance. You buy it really low, you put money into it, you put sweat equity into it, you show proof of rental income, then you utilize those assets. We would start in the future bunching them together, and then you refinance them all into one loan, and then you cash out refi and get that money out of it. And that's how you use the stepping stone to buy your next investments. We also knew at this time we wanted to slowly start shifting from single family properties as rentals and shifting into multi-units, the duplex, the 2 units, the triplex, the 3 units, and so on. 2021 isn't too exciting for us. We get a duplex, but it is the first time we get to go on a really long vacation, which at that point was so needed. So needed for not only us individually, but us together. He'd been working on his full-time CPA business, the transition of taking that over from his grandpa. During this time, his grandpa has passed unexpectedly. He's got these properties, and you can just tell when Cody's dreams start, the vision is there. He's getting it. He's thinking big. So, like most couples do on vacation, we're spending time at the beach and watching dolphins and talking profit and loss sheets and return on investments and the ultimate goal of owning beachfront property. Because toes in the sand, watching the sunset over the beach every night, mama could get used to this. That was a big goal. We both decided we wanted to work towards and wanted to do it before we were 70. We wanted to be able to find assets that would provide income, so when we wanted to get to a point at a somewhat younger age, 50, we could go off for a little while or buy a property or do kind of fun things and not wait too long. So a lot of thoughts were running through our mind when we came back from this trip. Me more so than Cody, because Cody is much of a D personality, a driver. He gets a goal set on something, he finds a way to implement it. Things are not a lot of attachment to him, so going into properties, getting rid of properties, situations, they just come and go easier for him. So we knew that to level up to the next level, it was going to be big changes and that was going to come with a lot of risk. And those are two things I don't adapt well to. A lot of people don't. We are creatures of habit, but being in a relationship with Cody, I've grown accustomed to going with the flow on more things, and something I've learned to accept more of being in a relationship with Mr. Grable. There's times when I was like, he was going to come home and say he invested in a llama farm, and I was just going to have to be like, okay, I got to start understanding how to take care of llamas. So it's always kind of something I have learned along this journey. If we were going to stay together, which I wanted, and I wanted to be a part of helping him reach his goals and I wouldn't have ever held him back, but I would have been a big weight. It's tough when you're trying to make these changes and break through these ceilings when your loved ones at home aren't fully on board. I spent a lot of our first years doing that. Selfishly thinking small too, very aware of that and how much that has changed. So I'm fully on, board now, adjusting, kind of not going with the flow, but saying, okay, he's proven his theory of concept. I've seen enough risks and positive rewards out of it that I'm pretty fully in. And probably Fixer Upper came around this time with Chip and Joanna Gaines. So I was probably thinking like, I would like to do that. That seems like everyone's dream, be like Chip and Joanna Gaines. So we're coming back from that vacation, October 2021, and we look at the properties we have, and a West Side rental lease is up that December of 2021. So we make that, which is funny because this is a property Cody bought from his grandma and grandpa. His like great grandpa built this property. It's right next door to where he grew up. He's lived in this house as a child. So it was kind of funny. So we make that decision that we are going to get into that property before tax season starts, January 2022, and that we are going to sell our home in New Harmony. So we get that rental, get the tenants out, their leases up, get it painted, get a fence built. Always have to build a fence. We've built many fences at every property we're at for the doggos. So we build the fence, we get just the bare necessities moved in to this house on the west side, leave almost everything at New Harmony because we were going from a 4,700 square foot house, 10 acres of property, to 900 square feet. No garages, no outbuildings, tiny yard, tiny house, back in a small house, 2 adults, 3 now fully grown huskies. So talk about sacrifice. It was scary, but that was our goal. We just knew that to get to the next level, we had to make those sacrifices and free up some things. So we closed on our New Harmony house May of 2022, just in time. We could not have planned that any better, I would say, because the crazy market of what we were seeing with low interest rates and high priced properties selling with those low interest rates, that time was coming to an end quickly. So we were so thankful for that timing because that was riding on a lot of stuff. We were able to get out of the house at a good price at a good time, and again with the rental coming up on the west side at the time that it did, we knew things were lining up. Timing of things is kind of funny how life works out that way. It's a little crazy. So in April of 2022, we find out my dad has stage 4 throat cancer. So now instead of being 40 minutes away, we are 6 minutes down the road from them. And obviously that wasn't a part of any deciding factor. We were already on this trajectory. I just think that the pieces of all of those decisions lined up exactly when they needed to, because Cody for years had been trying to talk me into selling New Harmony and doing this. And I was like, no, we've not been here long enough. We've got everything set up. We're not going to go buy something else. He'd asked him many, many a times and I wasn't ready yet. So I had finally come on board, and I think the decision of everything just happened when it should. Timing happened when it should. In 2022, we also start renting out cars as Turo hosts. Turo is like Airbnb for vehicles. Not a lot of people do it around here, but if you're in big cities and you've traveled a lot, you're probably used to hearing about Turo. At one point, we had 5 vehicles, constantly running those vehicles to the airport, picking them up from the airport. You had to do this whole check-in process, check-out process. It was a lot. It was so much. We dealt with car crashes. We dealt with finding paraphernalia in vehicles, both of the drug nature, the gun nature, and the sexual nature. One of our vehicles was stolen, and we found it in Alabama. So that is a totally different story for another day, but we are doing this Turo thing. It's an investment, a lot of learning, a lot of headaches. I get to be 50% owner of 3 of our vehicles. So that was kind of my first time I actively took the financial plunge to participate in investing. 2021 and 2022 were very good real estate years for me and my business. So in 2022, I was able to use that money again to become an active investor in real estate myself for the first time. So we created Husky Homes LLC. So up to this point, Cody had been doing all of his investments. I'm there the step of the way, supporting, working at the properties, getting ready for rentals, stuff like that. But Husky Homes LLC is the first time we partner up, and we're both investors in those properties. So that was a very exciting time for me. I was very proud of myself on that. In 2022, we added 5 single-family homes to our rentals, a triplex, so that's 3 units, a quadplex, which is 4 units, 2 duplexes, a commercial property, and our beach condo in Florida that we Airbnb out. That happened way sooner than I thought it would. Maybe sooner than it should have, but it has been a blessing so far. So that was less than a year from us sitting on that beach and choosing to fully commit and dive into investments and the risks we were going to have to take to push to the next level. And we own beachfront property now. That could not have been done if we didn't sell New Harmony. It could not have been done if we didn't do our other investments. And it's not the end goal, but that was just very cool. It was the first time for me to set that big of a goal and it be accomplished. So it was a very, very rewarding time. We don't get to go there. We get to go there often. Obviously not as often I'd like to be there because I'd be there all the time. It's tiny. It's 400 square feet. It's a studio. It's the couch, the bed, the kitchen. And by kitchen, I mean a sink and somewhere that you can try to keep things cold in this mini fridge, and a bathroom, obviously, but you are less than 100 steps to the water, and it's ours. So it is amazing. But also, if you ever want to Airbnb there, let me know and I will get you the link. Gosh, yeah, that was just a really, really cool time. And now I just want to be back at the beach. In June of 2022, we thought it would be a good idea to invest in an electric company, and it was not. Again, that partner thing was kind of a lesson to still be learned. And I've never met anyone who's a harder worker than Cody Grable. I've said that for years, and I will keep saying it. And people can work really hard and improve, and then some people can say they want the things and not do the things it takes to get the thing. So we were done with that by February of 2023, so about 6 months. And then a little more than 6 months. And then by October of 2023, we also sold our Turo cars. So both endeavors were very profitable, but it took the focus off of real estate. And Cody's CPA business is growing. He's already tripled business by now, by the time when he took over with his from his grandpa. So it was a lot all at once. Again, it was a lot of learning. It was a lot of headaches, but we got through it. Again, profitable, learned. Cody attempted to buy a car wash. Luckily, that one did not pan out. Sorry, not sorry. There's some things where I'm just like, I can see your vision, and then it's sometimes where I need to be a little bit more verbal on what I think needed to not be done. But it worked out, again, like it should have. We did buy a house down the road from where we currently live. Once that lease is up in May, there's some USI students in there who have been there for like their freshman year, so we wanted them to be able to finish out their senior year there. We hope to start renovating it and moving into it. We attempted to buy a multi-million-dollar land deal around us, and we got to learn about assessors and building and rights and the process you have to go through to get everyone in the community on board with it. That was a lot of talks and discussion and concerns, because this would have been one of those deals where everything we'd built and worked for up to this point could be gone with nothing, with nothing to benefit from it. We would have had to have sold all of our rentals, including my beach land, including my little piece of the beach. It would have just been him as a CPA, me as a realtor, none of our rentals. And it probably would have been $1 million, $500,000 to $1 million just to get all of the paperwork straight to do this. And it could have been shot down. I mean, it would have been years and years and years before we potentially would have had anything done with this. So timing wasn't right for us on that one. I definitely think there was a reason we did not move forward with that. Cody expanded his CPA business to 3 locations now, and he's purchased 2 more commercial buildings. Renovation on the west side one here will be starting after tax season this year. Many LLCs have been created, and that is something that if you were thinking of investing, I'm not going to say mandatory, but highly recommend. It's the smartest way to go. So you want to have LLCs for many different things. So we have some lower producing rental properties that we did not want in the same LLC as our beach condo. We don't want any of our real estate mixed in with our businesses, his CPA business, my realtor business. You only get like so much asset value into one LLC before you really want to kind of get another one. And then we have an LLC that has like all of the equipment and all of the vehicles and all of those kind of things. So many LLCs later, again, it helps with him being a CPA of anyone can create an LLC, but he has spreadsheets and everything's organized, and you have to know that this goes with this and this goes with this and doing all that tax stuff. So his brain and how it works is a blessing on all of that. And on part of this journey, it started out very much, you do that, you take care of this, you got this. And then when I got fully on board with it, I wanted to stop being such an observer, such a backseat passenger rider, and I wanted to be very in on it. So when I said, like, when you were calculating this, what does that look like and why are you doing it? Again, not being a numbers fan, numbers are what change the game. You have to know what numbers you're looking at for investing. So asking more questions, researching. He learns from certain people about things this way. I had to find content that I could consume. It was on the same stuff, but I needed it at a different level. Him and I trying to discuss things. We're both saying the same thing. We're just getting their very different paths, which has come with grace and patience to learn. But if you are doing this, it's again, I would have done none of this without Cody. I 100% know that. I believe that. He still does 98% of all of it, probably honestly like 99% of all of it. But I am learning now. I'm actively a part of the process. I want to understand why, not just follow along and say, okay, sure, and not know what's happening. Because there's a lot of plates up in the air. That also meant, what can I do, since he does handle that deep stress of knowledge? Because again, not only with real estate, but building these CPA businesses, what can I take on and help out more with, so it's not more on him? So it's not 50-50. It's 100% him, 100% me. It's just very sometimes different things. Sometimes he's at 80%, so I need to be at 120%. And that's how I see our partnership, not only our relationship as boyfriend and girlfriend, but our relationship with this investing. Things used to be, if he thought this was a good idea, yeah, go for it, we do it. But now it's like, I can kind of see why it's a good idea, and I can see some of the patterns he sees, and we talk about it. And I'm like, hey, here's my advice from an outside preserver looking in, and I ask a lot of questions. So what does this look like? What does this sound like? Where does this end up going? Jenny had made a video, and I agree with it. I think it's a great concept of women not being, I'm just going to say women because I'm a woman, and take this however you will, a partner not being reliable on your partner to where you look up one day and you don't know how you got there. But I'm fine having my knight in shining armor. I'm just going to make sure I'm with him battling the dragons. It's very much, again, 100% him, 100% me. So I think it's okay to know you're going to need help in any endeavor you're thinking of. No one succeeds alone. You can do all the research on your own. You can put all the footwork on your own. To exceed and get further and break through those ceilings, you have to have assistance. You have to learn from someone who's done it before. So you're not recreating the wheel. You're going to spend so much time doing that. Take the short route, not the easy route, but learn from their mistakes, learn from their lessons. Get on board if you have a partner who is dreaming big, or make sure it's both your dreams. It's going to be smoother for you. Not easy by any means, but I do think it means a lot more when you have those loved ones at home who, after you have a long day there, you don't have to come home and hear them fighting about, well, you're never home and you're never here. Because I know I did that too. I've been that part of it. And he's come around and realized, there's some things that are worth leveraging out so he can have his time back. And those are things that come with learning and lessons and putting in the work up front to earn that right to leverage it out. So there's been a lot of fights, a lot of lessons, headaches, ups and downs, curious what we're going to do next. He's wrapping up another tax season. And like I said, kind of going through this list, we know we haven't been as gung-ho with real estate as we were. Things have happened with family. Things have happened again with his business and CPA business. That growth has been challenging, very worth it, but challenging. And people think when you invest, you make money right away. I have talked to so many people and they say, I want to invest because it's going to make me a lot of money. And that is true. That is true if you do it the right way and you realize it is a long-term game. It is not a make money now game. And you can't think small when you do it. If we stuck with 1 or 2 single family homes, we wouldn't have the outcome that we wanted. We knew we had to grow big. We knew it was a long-term play. Any money that comes out of our investments in property go right back in to investing. We know it's for the long term. I know the importance of having guidance and knowledge and support in this, and people from the outside don't get it sometimes, and that's okay. I could not imagine where I'd be or what I'd be doing if we weren't on this journey together. So I'll wrap it up. Again, I kind of just went through our investment journey. I didn't go too much in the details, because I don't know how to explain it. Number one, if we're going to be honest, I have Cody take it. He tells me what it is, and then I have to write it down. And then, like I said, I'll go Google it and be like, well, what does this mean? And I have to break it down. But that's what it takes if you want to learn and know. So that's how I get confident with it. I'm not confident to share it yet. Like I said, I know tips and tricks, and I like working with investors on the real estate side, my journey and kind of things to look for. But so that's it. That's my first solo episode. I hope there's not very many more of them. I do better when there's someone else here and I can interrupt their questions and not just sit here and ramble. So thank you so much for listening today. Be sure to follow us and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Stay connected with us on social media, and we want to hear from you. We want to know what topics you like and what you're learning from our episodes. So please make sure to use the hashtag Kick It Up a Notch. And until next time, let's all keep working together to kick it up a notch in everything we do. Thanks for tuning in to Kick It Up a Notch. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Until next time, keep reaching higher and kicking it up a notch.